Welcome to my basement, everybody. We are in a very funky basement, actually. This is the, not the bowels, but definitely the intestines of Electronic Arts.
Yeah.
Right?
I think that said that on the wall.
Yes.
Welcome to the intestines.
That would be cool. Theming out an office like the interior of a body.
This
with
place
all
is
kinds
big
of-
enough to actually have every part of the body represented, and it would actually almost be like scale. Like there is a head, probably, 10 stories up that direction.
Usually we take a few minutes to get weird, but not today. And we're not drunk. We're just starting off weird. We saw a weird game announced today. Something I
Yeah.
wasn't. I mean, it's been rumored, so I wasn't shocked. But certainly, it's a weird idea to have a World War I game, and that's what Battlefield 1 is. That's what the reason why we're here at Electronic Arts. What do you think of the trailer and what they've shown us so far?
Well, I don't know if I don't know if it's weird that a Battlefield game has people shooting each other
Yeah.
with tanks and airplanes. Like it's pretty much Battlefield.
Right, and they did a Vietnam game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they have, tried to do, different wars and mix it up
Yeah.
a little bit. I like the idea. I
Me
mean,
too.
Call of Duty is doubling down on the future. They are going further and further. It's
Which
basically
I'm
Battlestar Galactica at this point.
Very excited about that one too.
Yeah, let them go off the rails.
Yes.
I mean, I liked Black Ops 3 and
Yeah.
I liked Advanced Warfare more than I had liked
I
the
loved
prior
Advanced
games.
Warfare, and Blops was pretty fun, but I like this idea, and I like the stuff in space and Ghost. I know it's weird for the COD enthusiasts that just love the core, but
I mean, we've had so many of those
know we
that
have,
I
yeah.
like them kind of going off the rails. So on that note, Battlefield, I think it makes sense for them to say, well, you know what? We're not going to compete on that level. We're not going to try to just like outflash you with lasers and shit.
Yeah.
We're going to go way back to the Great War, and
Yeah.
we're going to start to mine that. And I think a lot of people have been interested in that. They've been interested in like the Civil War, the Revolutionary, like, going back to older wars and
Yeah.
starting to get into it. World War One is an interesting one because it's not quite as, and EA spoke about this. It's not quite as dated and old school as people tend to think. Like,
yeah,
it's
and
not like
they've done Civil Wars where you have to load the musket,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you
yeah.
wait for that. We've done games like that. They're boring as hell.
it takes forever to shoot.
It's
You're like, there's a
You know what, though? Far Cry Primal kind of showed this year that you can completely change the time period and still make a thrilling, action-packed adventure. And I think with this kind of futuristic, almost sci-fi-esque introduction of all of these hand-carried machine guns and stuff in World War One, compared to the people riding on horseback with swords, I think there is something there, and it looks like it will have the ferocity that we've come to expect.
I think it will. I mean, I think it for sure will. At least
Yeah.
the trailer, and we got to see a little bit of gameplay as well
Yeah.
that wasn't shown on the live stream, and it looks beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, we know that this engine, this Frostbite engine,
Yeah.
can do incredible things. I mean, Battlefront, holy crap.
Did you read about the Battlefield devs that were dogging the Call of Duty devs on Twitter?
Oh, are they starting up some beef?
It was flat out saying that
Really?
it looked like 10-year-old tech on Call of Duty.
Yeah.
I was pretty shocked to read some of those tweets, man.
Well, maybe some of these developers should play Uncharted 4 if they want to get put in their fucking places. Because, I mean, these games look great, but there are other great-looking games, too. We'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah.
I mean, I think this is a smart move for Battlefield
Yep.
because I think they were starting to kind of hit their ceiling with the last game. And they had a lot of problems also, let's not forget, at the launch of the last game. And
Yeah.
and this is easy to kind of smooth over that stuff because everyone's excited that, like, they're going to a different war and they're
Yeah.
going to a different era. I'm most excited to see if they're going to a different server bank. Are they going to get this thing working out the gate? That is EA's problem these days. It's not good design. It's like launching a game and having it succeed
Well,
out
they
the
had a
gate.
big Microsoft partnership presence here.
Yeah.
With the play it first on Xbox, all the stuff that you would expect. But maybe part of their ongoing relationship with Microsoft is working with Microsoft's server farm or their services or whatever to, sort of solidify the online experience for Battlefield 1 going forward.
Yeah.
They've had technical issues, but the other thing that they've had to kind of, get beyond is some of the dismay that people have had, and even you and Jose when you did the review for Battlefront and talked about the sort of thinness of it, this sort of expectation that people are going to have to ante up with a lot more money to buy all the DLC and get all the stuff. It kind of turning the screws a bit because Star Wars fanatics like myself, who was perfectly happy with whatever they shipped with Battlefield 1, expecting that everybody's just going to line up.
Battlefront.
I mean, Battlefront.
Yeah.
And so now they have to counter that. So they have to say, and I think the move that's afoot right now too is this, like Uncharted, is to give people a lot of free stuff and to give them more value than they're expecting. So I hope that this is a trend that applies here to Battlefield 1.
Well, they're making a single-player campaign,
which is
story-driven.
good. Yeah.
They've tried that in older Battlefields, and they've never really worked.
No.
I
You
can't.
sure lose interest in those story campaigns.
Yeah, I mean, it's not easy to write a compelling story in a video game, and when most of your resources are going into the infrastructure and the balance and the
two different
level
games.
design, they're totally different games, and they require a kind of different
That's why Call
focus.
of Duty is always so impressive.
Yes, they
because
have teams that are working on 3 games inside of one. You have the zombies games and all
right.
of that. You've got multiplayer, you've got single player, and they all sort of stand on their own fairly well.
Yep.
Battlefield struggled to do that. Like, I think it's been the world's best sort of sandbox multiplayer shooter for a long time.
Most sophisticated.
Yeah. Maybe not the best, but it sort of owns that space. But whether or not it can own that space and deliver a single player that's really, really compelling, like Battlefield Hardline started to touch on that. And there were moments in that single player where you were like, well, they're trying to do some cool things here. But for me, it never quite gelled. And I don't really have faith that they know how to do this.
Yeah.
That being said, I think I'm always intrigued by it. And I think this new setting, World War I, I mean, in that trailer and in the stuff we saw, they're in the Alps, they're in France.
Fighters.
Yeah, it looks like you can go a lot of ways with it. It could be really kooky. And just to also clarify one thing, because I think I was confused by this and then I got it clarified. This is not alternate history.
Yeah.
Even though it kind of looks like, wait a minute, that's like a dude on a horse racing a tank, and there's like a plane, and it looks vaguely like they're dressed like Assassin's Creed characters.
I know, right?
So, like, I'm kind of thinking, are they making it up? Is this alternate timeline?
Yeah, it looks almost like the sequel to The Order in some spots.
Yeah, there's like a hint at like there's someone's gonna be wearing armor and maybe there's a laser, maybe a wand
or some magic powers.
Yeah, like by the way, here's a fucking fireball. Like they could do that.
Yeah,
but they're not. This is apparently grounded.
But you know what? That would be
reality.
amazing. That would be a terrific extra vertical slice of a new thing, like their counter to zombies, is to maybe, add some fantasy elements to a whole other mode.
Yeah.
Just to give you something to work on between now and October 21, EA.
Yeah.
So if you could make that happen.
Yeah, you got some time. You got a couple months to put that together. So I mean, I think I'm guardedly optimistic. I think it's good that they're not doing another near future thing, because I'm sort of burnt on that. Like, I don't want to pilot another drone in a video. Like, I got to stop in the corner and my drone goes and I see the drone camera. Like, I don't want to do that anymore.
It's a little too close to home now that everybody has a drone
it's
of
just,
their own.
It's just like not fun. Like, I get confused by all the tech and the names and everything, and I just I'm not really into that. And Call of Duty moving into kind of the further future means Battlefield would either have to compete with them and do the same fucking thing, or they'd have to make Battlefield, 4 or 5 again, just do the same thing again.
With better graphics, yeah.
Right, but I think instead what they're doing is they're going to try to mine a new war, and that's a smart move. Whether or not it comes out and works, there's so many things that can go wrong between now and when the game comes out.
Yeah.
Actually, not between now and when the game comes out. There's so many things that can go wrong when the game comes out.
Until months after the game comes out.
Yeah.
Yes.
That all holds, a lot of my excitement for this until October 21st or whatever.
We haven't been on camera together talking about stuff for a little bit, and there's been a lot of things that have happened since then. And one of the things that I nudged you about, and I jokingly said you should ask if there's going to be a Battlefield 1.5 for the Xbox 1.5, a 4K version of this for the new PlayStation and the new Xbox that are rumored. That's happening. It feels like that's happening. What do you think of these new consoles and the idea that we're being ushered into 4K?
I hate it.
Yeah.
I hate it. I get it. I totally get it, and I totally hate it.
Yeah.
And my reason is this is, long been the differentiator between being a PC gamer and having to upgrade. I mean, look, I'm dealing right now with an Oculus Rift.
Right.
I've got one.
Yeah.
I can't run it. I don't have a computer to run it.
Oh, wow.
I have to upgrade. I mean, I got a new video card. I'm just back in that world of like rebuilding and reinvesting and upgrading technology. And for my whole life, you buy a console and I'm good to go with this console. Now, I know that both companies are saying, and Sony's really said very explicitly, Like, there's not going to be anything exclusive to the new console. You can't get a PS4.5.
Well, they haven't announced. It's all rumor.
Right.
But what's been leaked is that Sony is.
That's going to be the going thing, is that you won't be, at least according to the rumors. And I do believe a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's going to be like depressing that like you can't play a bunch of games. That's stupid. I mean, we saw Nintendo start to touch on that with the new 3DS, and I haven't seen. There was like one or two. There was like one game, two games.
Nintendo's a whole other topic of discussion.
I know we can get into that. What was it? The Xenogears? Was that the one?
Xenogears. No, Xenoblade Chronicles.
That was like the one that you can only play on it. And then like they were gonna announce more, and I just haven't seen them. Maybe they have been, but I haven't been playing it.
Yeah.
So I don't think the idea is terrible in the sense that it's nice that we can like have the opportunity to get a little bit more out of these things, but. Can I just hand in my old one and get a brand new one for $5?
Yeah.
For $20? Do I have to spend an extra $300?
Well,
do I get $100 for it? I mean,
here's the good thing about taking the glass half full on all of this. Technology is changing so quickly. A lot of us have no compunction upgrading our phones every year or 2 years, which is a substantial investment or a commitment of some level. But the resale value on our current PlayStation 4s and Xbox Ones, I think, is still going to be pretty high if you want to go the other way, because those people know that they're walking into a pretty sizable library of experiences. And in some ways, that's not a bad move for people that want to have that extra horsepower, especially on the PlayStation 4's case. If they're going to go into the VR mode, they're going to want that 4.5.
But is the horsepower the problem with these consoles? Like, I haven't experienced yet where I'm like, God, I just wish these consoles were a little more powerful. Like,
well,
I mean, we're going to talk about Uncharted 4 in a bit.
Yeah.
And when you look at that game and when you see what Naughty Dog has done with this video game, the last thing that was on my mind was, God, I wish this was a PS4.5. God, I wish this was a little bit fancier.
The only people that this matters to right now are wealthy people that have 4K televisions and expensive graphic cards on PCs hooked up to those televisions, playing video games in the highest resolutions that are possible. This isn't a problem right now, but it will be a problem when Oculus and Vive and PlayStation VR are locked head-to-head, specs and resolution size and ways, competing with each other, and PlayStation is going to go out there and say that this is the better solution for your VR needs.
We're just so far away from that, though. I mean, back to talking about the Oculus Rift.
Yeah.
How many 100 people own an Oculus Rift in this country right now?
PlayStation wants to change that. I think PlayStation has invested a fortune in VR.
Yeah.
They have way more games coming out.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing that I'm already noticing with Vive and Oculus owners is they're tweeting out what they hope will be on their things, on their machines, their brand new systems. And that just shocks me, that there is already an absence of compelling content, that people are already feeling not satisfied.
Well, people are going slowly because they need it to be proven. Like, developers aren't.
No.
We're seeing a lot of developers who are already involved, but a lot of developers are waiting to see how the stuff gets out there before they start investing.
I think that PlayStation, though, because this is a huge gamble. I mean, this is they're saying Vita's dead. We're spending all of our resources on this brand new platform. This is a huge gamble for them. And we've already seen, I mean, at GDC, they had a bank of playable titles, and they've got some interesting actual game risks coming.
But that install base is where they really fly, right?
Yeah.
It's that there's 40 million yet? Is it 35 million or something?
Well, it will work on the machine.
Yeah.
But if they want to counter and sort of take business away from the other VR outfits out there, they've got to hit them in the resolution war.
I know, but I just don't think that's going to be the fight for them. I don't think they're going to have to worry about competing with the Vive or the Rift. I think the Vive and the Rift compete because you're looking for, the same space on the desk, right?
Yeah.
But like, you can own a Vive or a Rift, or you can be a PC person and you have a PS4 and you want to get a headset for it. I mean, like, I don't think you're going to go, I'm only going to get one VR thing, or I don't know what VR thing I'm going to get, and I have a PS4 and a PC. Which do I get? Like,
well, PlayStation wants that user. They want it. They want just like
I just think
Xbox
I think it's a dead end for
saying,
them.
PCs are going to be hooked up to televisions, and the internet's going to be hooked up to televisions. We have to have a console out there.
Yeah.
We have to get Xbox Live out there. This is PlayStation putting that flag in the ground, saying VR is coming. we have to get people to understand that PlayStation VR is where they should go to first for this.
Well, and maybe you're right. Maybe that for them it is, competing with these other high-tech companies and trying to compete on that level. For me, it feels more like they're influenced by that. They've seen what it can do. They're excited by it. They have such a lead in the console space right now that I think they can afford to do something like this and to kind of like put it out there and gamble it and see how it goes. I think, though, the next step of saying you're going to need a PS 4.5 to really get the most out of it and trying to upsell people, to me, it just feels like you're aiming at a very small slice of people and you're antagonizing maybe a huge swath of people who are like, I just bought one. I don't want to feel this feeling. And there's a lot to be said about the nervous feeling that you get with technology when you buy something and you take it home and you immediately feel like you made a bad decision.
Every PC owner, every purchaser of a MacBook, an iPad even feels that within a year.
And consoles was one of the few places where you didn't, where you felt like, I got a PS4, I'm in it, I know I have years with this thing, I can go buy games, I can spend $60 and good to go.
There was the 32X, there were the
yeah, they all flunked. I mean, all of them
remember
flunked.
those I forget what they're called on the N64, you'd stick them into the
Rumble packs.
The Rumble packs, but also there was the supercharger thing that you'd stick into the guts of the machine, and Turok would
right, the red. It was like a red little the RAM pack or something. What it was called? Yeah.
You know, like
they never worked. The Sega CD. I have a Sega CD, and it's like
they tried. Sega CD. Jaguar had a CD pack-on add-on thing. The Game Boy. The Game Boy iterated every couple of years. There was a new. They came out. You couldn't see it. You know, they came out. They added a light. You still couldn't see it.
The light.
They came out again. It's like, well, this looks a bit brighter. It's okay. It's blurry though. Then they came out again. It's like, it flips open. Now I can see it. It's so small. Look
I remember
at all
when
these
companies
phones.
would send you those little squiggly lights. It was like a light you plugged into it and had a little squiggle thing came out. And it was the worst.
The Neo Geo Pocket. It's amazing to look back at the state of the art technologies and to see how they're not.
You can already sort of do this though with the consoles. Like you can buy an external hard drive to increase the size of it. You can go into the PS4 and actually yank out that hard drive and put in a brand new hard drive right into the thing. I feel like that option where it would be like, hey, if you want to get more power out of your PS4, we're going to start selling RAM, or we're going to start selling this thing that you can kind of, but to have to sort of like uninvest in the console you have, go to the store, buy a whole new fucking console, take it home. Like this idea to me is, it's just unsettling. And I'm speaking as somebody who is probably going to get one, but like I'm not enthused about it.
I am. I feel like it's, we need some new shakeups in the console space. And I think that 4K has been this peripheral on the periphery for so long. It's time to kind of think about that in a real way,
I guess.
And
they also tried to get us to think about 3D really hard. And I have an old Sony 3D television, like a $300 one that they, sent out like, hey, here's gonna be our awesome new 3D shit. And I have this thing. I've turned it on once. Looked terrible. I know 4K is gonna be probably a little bit more of a reality than 3D ever was, but. All of this stuff just feels like it's too much, kind of too early. Like, traditionally in the console scene, it takes a few years before the great games start showing up.
Yeah, but if we're just talking about a resolution bump and not so much a processing bump, just a GPU, a graphics processor that's much more powerful, that already exists in the PC world, for the price of a graphics card, that sounds like a great deal to me. You're going to get a very fast, great-looking PC that you can hook up to your TV for the price of a graphic card for a PC.
Yeah, I just think it's going to upset the people who feel like they were there, they're part of this. They bought a system early on, they got it for Christmas, and now the next Christmas they have a lame system.
This will be both, because I believe that they're both coming. This will be both of the Sony and Microsoft's big PR hurdle this holiday season. What's Nintendo's going to be?
Zelda, you guys like Zelda? It's in the Hall of Fame. Zelda's in the Hall of Fame. It's a Hall of Fame video game. Don't you guys love Zelda? Because we got nothing else. That's all we got is Legend of Zelda.
What did you think when you heard that news?
I mean, I was not I wasn't surprised
No?
because, well, okay, I was surprised that they are like only showing one video game
Well,
at E3.
I think
but
that's something that they could have said even later. Like now we've got just a month of conjecture
Just like,
and just
don't
a
even worry
month
about
of
it.
just like, oh man, and
We'll
then
wait to see Zelda.
right, they
Yeah.
like they could have done it a week before E3, you know,
I mean, look, man.
and celebrated it more. Like
Yeah.
we're because they are doing the PR releases about how they're going to celebrate it, and then we're turning our whole booth into a castle in Hyrule or whatever they're going to do. And it's going to be amazing to play the game, but it's really freaking weird that that's going to be the only playable experience.
It's just a weird way to announce to the world that your company is in sort of disarray
Yeah.
/ shambles / we have no idea what our strategy is moving forward.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
that's what this announcement tells me. Because, they are changing the company.
Yeah.
They're investing in mobile. We know that. They are investing in this new system, the NX. They are going to sunset the Wii U. We know that and who knows what that means for the 3DS.
I think they just unplugged the Wii U for the most part.
Yeah.
With that announcement.
Pretty much.
Right? Yeah.
That thing's gone.
Well,
So instead
yeah.
of making those formal announcements and saying, here's our new plan,
Yeah.
what they're really just saying is like, here's
We're-
Legend of Zelda. Don't you guys love Zelda? And they're kind of just trying to blow us away with that.
We're going into the carbon sleep and wake us up when we get to Jupiter.
Yeah.
In a way,
Pretty much.
right? You know,
Yeah.
it's like I know it's a bit nuts. Nothing really that we know about what's coming up for 3DS even right now. This was an opportunity for them to downplay a little bit of this Wii U news and upplay and upsell all of the upcoming stuff for NX. And I mean, why
They
would
just
they
don't.
do
They
it?
don't have. I mean,
Why
I don't
would
know.
They do it?
They don't. They
You
don't.
know,
They don't
it's-
have.
It's
they
a
don't have anything
baffling
ready.
thing.
I mean, they obviously don't have. They don't have what they need to have
Yeah.
together. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think. I mean, look, Star Fox sucks.
Yeah,
It's a bad
it's
game.
Underwhelming, yes.
They don't really have anything else on the horizon. We've known that for a long time, and we've had a lot of conversations about Nintendo, and the conversation has always come back to, at least for me, it's always come back to pipeline. You need more games. You lean on these franchises and develop new ones. You need to do these things.
Lean on your partners. I mean, I remember some exciting videos around the 3DS launch and around the Wii launch about how exciting this technology was. Even after the GameCube didn't do the numbers that it did, even the DS, there were videos with other third-party partners and developers talking about these new platforms that Nintendo was coming out and pledging their allegiance. And some of that came true, some of it didn't. Some of it was maybe a little half measures, especially on the Wii shovelware. But companies did make a lot of money partnering with Nintendo, and for whatever reason, that has stopped being the case, and people have moved away.
Well, no
because-
one bought their system. I
well,
mean,
that, but also they made their system and have categorically every time completely different from the other guys, which has served them well in the Wii's case, them well, not necessarily all of their third-party partners.
Yeah.
And I feel like because of this, move to always be different and be sort of self-serving, which has served Nintendo as a corporation very well over the years, they've limited their ability to kind of, really integrate with this wider scope of developers.
Oh yeah, but that's been their
I know.
MO forever.
I know.
And I think that will be their MO forever. I mean,
Yeah.
we're again this DNA thing that they're starting to do, with mobile and Miitomo, and they're going to start developing more games that way.
Yeah.
Is interesting because it shows that they're willing to partner with somebody.
Yeah.
But they've always been a circle the wagons company.
Yeah.
They've never reached out much to other companies. I mean, even in the Wii's heyday when they were like, EA was working with them, and Activision, you started to see Call of Duty on a Wii and stuff
Yeah.
like that. It always felt like they didn't really give a shit. At
Yep.
their press conferences, they never really featured that stuff. It was always about Nintendo and its mascots and its characters.
I don't know if you can really call these game consoles at that point. It's like it's a Nintendo console. It's a platform. It's a Nintendo box.
Yes,
But
it's always
not
been that. Yeah.
But like especially with the Wii U, and now it looks like with the NX, because there has been no discussion about what the third-party integration is. That's my fear too, is that
Yeah.
when we finally do get the NX info, that there will be no third-party support at all for this.
Of course. I mean,
But-
I don't know why you'd expect it to
But
be.
why would you do that again?
Well, I think for them, it's not about that. It's not about competing on that level. Like, remember back when the Wii was sort of hot, there were all these reports that would come out saying X number of people own a PlayStation 3 and a Wii, or an Xbox 360 and a Wii. Like everyone owned a Wii and one other system. It
Yeah.
was like you had your Nintendo toy box, and then you had a grown-up console.
Right.
And I think they got used to that idea. Like, we can be so ubiquitous that we're just there.
Right.
And then let the other companies fight over online and networks and mature games and blah, 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 blah. Like, they'll let that shit happen. They're going to go after your whole family with Wii Tennis, Wii Music, Mario games.
That worked, but it didn't work.
But I think they have a hard time getting away from it.
Yeah.
And I think with the NX, and I have no inside information. I don't know anything about it. I know as much as in fact, I probably know less because I have not been keeping up particularly well with
Yeah.
NX news. I think they're just thinking we need to unify our console players and our handheld players into one device. I think that's where their brain is.
And it's
Not
going to be account based, not a
right.
not necessarily.
It's not going to be how do we bring in
Inventory,
the world's
yes.
greatest game. How are we going to
Yeah.
get Insomnia and Naughty Dog to switch teams and to suddenly come over? They don't give a shit.
Yeah.
I think they're just thinking, how do we bring all of our users into one place so that
Right.
we can make our consoles sell more?
Yeah. It's unfortunate because there were so many great games for the Wii U that they made. Like, this has actually been a very strong bunch of interesting titles that Nintendo has been able to put
But
out.
not enough when you
Not
look
enough.
at the number of years it's been available.
True, but also not enough because there's nothing else to augment it. It's
Right.
just their stuff.
Yeah.
So even though their stuff arguably is stronger than a lot of the first-party stuff from Sony or Microsoft, like there's just been this pretty good stream of really big titles that have been worth people playing.
Yeah.
The machine won't sell because there aren't enough titles on a regular,
the-
consistent basis.
And the irony being, when you think about the two most successful systems they've had, which would be the Wii and, I mean, for me, it would be the original NES, maybe the
Yeah.
Super NES, you could argue, but I would think it would be the NES
well,
and the Wii.
I think the Super Nintendo was the best machine they
But
made, but it wasn't as successful as the NES.
The NES and the Wii being sort of the big kind of sellers. One of the hallmarks of both of those systems is the wealth of software.
Everybody got involved.
Everybody
Yes.
was making games for
That's
both
what
of
I'm
those.
saying, is why not with the NX you return to that. I mean, everybody wants to be able to play every Nintendo game that they've owned, and Nintendo's done a pretty good job at shaping that market for us.
Yeah.
But this would be the perfect time to flip on the account. You buy it, you own it forever, and you can play it on this thing.
They love their garden. They just don't
That
want
would be
anyone
great.
tromping on their Pikmin,
But
man.
you also want all of their that's nice. Yeah, but you also want everybody to be able to access those third parties, and you also want to show that new third parties are going to be involved with this, and that this is
Yeah.
a straight ahead, connection to what everybody else is working on PC, PS4, and Xbox One. That's
Yeah.
best case scenario. But I don't know.
Hope you like Zelda.
Yeah.
Hope you like Zelda.
All right. Well, let's talk about what's real today, and what's real today is our joint communal obsession with Uncharted 4. This is live on Monday. This game comes out tomorrow for a lot of people. There will be some midnight purchases of this game. What do they have to look forward to?
Oh boy, a lot.
Yeah.
A lot. I mean, look, I'm not the world's biggest fan of this franchise. First game I was kind of cold on. Second game I really loved. I did not like the PS Vita game at all.
Yeah.
3 I had a lot of problems with.
Yeah.
Now, even though I loved Uncharted 2, and when I think of Uncharted, I generally think of that.
Yeah.
When I really kind of, before I started playing Uncharted 4, I kind of thought my way through that. And I was like, boy, I just think I'm not really into this. And then about 8 or 9 hours into Uncharted 4, I texted you.
Yeah.
You're the only person I texted. And I played this game before it came out, and a lot of journalists did.
Yes.
The reviews are already out there. My review's actually already up on Yahoo. And I texted you just to say, is this the most beautiful video game you've ever played in your life?
Right.
And I texted you specifically because I know that this is one of your favorite franchises.
It is.
This is right in
Yeah.
your wheelhouse. And I kind of wanted you to know, like, that
Yeah, I'm
this
not
one,
alone in this
yes,
one.
that
Yeah,
like if
yeah.
you're playing this game right now, your feelings about this are, I feel the same way. And I'm, have been traditionally more on the Scott Jones side of the fence
Yes.
as far as not being a huge fan of this.
Well,
this game is a tour de force.
They definitely misstepped with Uncharted 3. I still think it was a phenomenal game overall because of the amount of content and the multiplayer, and there was just a tremendous value, and it was such an amazing game comparative to what the rest of the industry was out. But it was definitely a step below what they had achieved creatively, story-wise, gameplay-wise, with the epiphanous Uncharted 2, which I agree, Uncharted 1 was definitely not any kind of barometer or any kind of hint as to how great Uncharted 2.
It was a good game that was like
Yes.
a launch title that was like, okay, that's a pretty cool kind of Tomb Raider game.
It was like a Tomb Raider game, and it came out at the same time as Assassin's Creed, and Assassin's Creed was a revelation. You know, I mean, you could say all you want about the repetitive.
Later, technically, Assassin's Creed Revelations.
Right, yeah, but the first one, it was like, you can do all of this shit. You can go everywhere. You can climb with animations like that. And Uncharted didn't have that smoothness, you know, and that diversity, that sort of breadth that they later kind of exhibited with the future games. But Uncharted 4 is, I think the team had a lot of internal squabbles about how they were going to put this together, and that's certainly evidenced by departures and changes.
It was a mess getting this game out.
But I also feel that because of that, they did a really big introspective look internally at what the best, truest, most value-packed, experience of Uncharted could be, and that's what they made us.
I would love to see the script that they threw away.
Me
because
too.
they did, right? Amy Hennig had written the script, and Alan Tudyk was on board, and they had this
We're
whole
actually
thing.
in the building where Amy is hard at work on a Star
That's right,
Wars
she's
game
upstairs.
right now.
Just go up and find her.
I know,
We're
right?
talking about. I bet she could tell us stuff. She probably won't tell us.
No.
I would love to see that script, because I remember Alan Tudyk saying he left the project because he didn't believe. Like, after they got rid of Amy, he didn't believe in the new direction.
Yeah.
And the new direction, presumably, is the direction that we're all playing right now.
Yeah.
And I can't really imagine a direction that's better for this final act in Nathan Drake's video game career. I mean, she'll come back at some point, but at least for now, that would be better than this game. I love the storytelling. I love the characters. The performances.
And Troy Baker in this
amazing.
game, again, I know it was a contentious thing, and I think it was Todd Stashwick that was going to be the brother in Amy's script, and then he went off to work with Amy on the Star Wars games. So good came out of the bad there, I think, for all involved. It's a good time to be in the Star Wars business. We're all excited for what they've got coming out. But I think Troy Baker in the role, playing against Nolan North, is just, it's like candy, man. It's just, they're so good. They're so funny. They're so competent. You can feel them. It's like we're watching a play with them.
They're virtuosos at video game voice work, and it's been a while.
But they're also mo-capped and the whole. So it's
I know,
full
it's really their
performance.
performances. I mean, Nolan North in particular. I mean, Troy Baker, has basically stolen half of Nolan North's career, right?
Yeah.
Like, he had been the ubiquitous video game voice guy.
Yeah.
Then Troy Baker sort of took all those gigs.
Yeah.
And Nolan's still done some spot work here and there, and still been, occasionally done some stuff. I forgot how incredible he is as Nathan Drake.
Yeah.
And in this game in particular, he's able to be a little more emotional. He has a much more range. This story, without giving anything away, touches a lot more on the life of Nathan Drake, on what it means to be a guy like this who chases after these crazy adventures, these ancient treasures, while still trying to maintain some sort of life. And this game gives you a window into that, and into that fight and struggle over his life.
Well, and the ambiguous sort of, his surviving the moments in whatever clumsy way he does is wonderful to play. But the ramifications of a life led like that are sort of also thrown into these ambiguous, crazy, non-resolved moments that he has with other characters in this game, and that is just mature storytelling.
There should have been a scene with him at the chiropractor, though. I feel like there should have been something
because there is such an inherent realism with how they're portraying it, until you go, well, he just survived every goddamn thing.
He didn't even get hit by like that entire building exploded underneath him, and he didn't even get scratched by the wood, like the giant chunks of concrete flying past his head. Nope, he didn't. He's fine.
It's
Like, just a little.
It's like they throw him
bruise.
into a wood chipping machine, and he comes out okay.
Like,
It's just
my pants are torn.
Stretches it out.
I'll be okay.
And then has
Snappy
this
one-liner, and
heartfelt
then, like,
scene,
climbing.
with somebody, and then they
Fucking
throw him back in.
fingers. This guy's dangling forever, and like I'll just sit there. The game is so beautiful. It's such an incredible, beautiful video game. It's distractingly beautiful. I was, hanging on the side of an Italian villa, and behind me is an ocean and a sunset, and I'm like staring at it, and then I realize I've been staring at it for 2 minutes, and Nathan Drake is just hanging for 2 minutes. He's fine. He's like, yeah, it's
World's
I'm
strongest
good.
fingers.
I'm good. American Ninja Warrior. Like, I'm good. Like, there is this like
And
suspension.
he's grunting and groaning the whole time.
There's a suspension of disbelief that you
Yeah.
have to give to a game that at the same time is trying to kind of push the
Yes.
realism of the experience.
Well, it's trying to be. It is. That's the best adventure movie that you get to play ever
Yeah.
made.
Yeah.
But it has to stretch and be this beefy game because it's the heavy investment of Sony and Naughty Dog wanting to outdo what they've done before and taking the Last of Us learnings and sticking that and transposing that into this game as well. But it does kind of, because of the breadth and because of the inherent silliness of everything that he does, it does kind of remove the reality moments of it.
Yeah.
But it does underline that it is time, really, for these guys to get serious about this thing becoming a movie. I mean, this is an amazing, indelible character that's, as far as I'm concerned, he's right up there with Indiana Jones. And if they do the film right, even though we don't need the film because the game can exist just fine without that, but it's clearly ripe for the picking. If they do that right, that's going to be a franchise that lives for a long time.
I mean, I don't know if you could make a movie that is anywhere near as good as this video game.
Right.
And I say that not because I just think movies based on video games aren't great. I say that because this video game is so great as a cinematic experience.
And because of the amount of time we've lived with this character.
Yeah.
Right.
This really does feel like Naughty Dog wanted to make a statement about not just what's happened and how difficult it was to get to this release and reworking the story and stuff, but to make a statement about, like, to the rest of the world that, like, I mean, at one point
games can be this.
and that they're kind of the world's best.
They're the best.
game developer.
They're the best
Like,
in the
and
world.
I say that knowing that, like, Todd Howard I love more than anyone,
Yeah.
and he, Bethesda has made
And
some of my favorite
BioWare
games, and
and
there's all these great
CCP
developers.
and-
But you
yeah.
get out of a game like this, and you're like, these guys just like, and girls, and friends,
Yeah.
and all their families.
Yep.
They put stuff into this game that I was just shocked at how painterly it felt,
Yep.
how artistically and technically masterful it is.
Yeah.
It's just, it's like sings the entire way.
Well, and it's almost a little heartbreaking because the rest of the industry can't meet this yet. Now we've beat this game, and how can we see something that is as impactful as this? Like, who would do that? Who can come up with?
Well, I mean, right.
Maybe they will.
Yeah,
And
I
we'll
mean,
be shocked and surprised.
Yeah.
I love Dark Souls 3 too. I think it's an absolute masterpiece again from. But it's a different. This is a different level. This is like this is every cylinder, and the fact that they've also. And we haven't had a lot of time to play the multiplayer, but the fact that there's also this extended way into all of this, and
the multiplayer is good,
DLC
and
everything.
the multiplayer always gets sort of the short shrift too because it's such a story-driven game.
Yeah.
I played for a few hours on the public servers, but we only had certain play time, so I haven't spent that long with it.
Yeah.
But I had a good time, and I was thinking to myself, I'm having a good time.
Yeah.
And this is not the good part of the game.
Yeah.
The good part of the game is the other 15 hours that I was like, I could not stop, and I
Yeah.
did not want it to stop.
Yeah.
I mean, by the one thing I will say, and you haven't, I don't think you've beaten it. Have you beaten it? Or you're right at the end?
Well, as we're recording this, I haven't beaten it. By the
Okay.
time this airs, I will have beaten it. Yeah.
So for me, the third act stumbles a little bit.
Yeah.
Love the ending. I won't tell you anything about that, but it did have some pacing issues a little bit in there. It's not a perfect game from start to finish.
Yeah.
But it's
Do you like
about
it
as good
better
as it
than
can be.
Uncharted 2?
I've been thinking a lot about that.
Yeah.
And I think I do. And part of that is because it's closer to me, obviously, than Uncharted 2. Part of it is because I really loved all of the family stuff with Nathan and watching him struggle with sort of dealing with his family and dealing with his brother and dealing with his life and his career. It doesn't have as many of like the set piece moments. Like Uncharted 2, the train is so indelible. It doesn't really capture that.
Or the ship sequence in Uncharted 3.
Right.
Yeah.
There are some moments in Uncharted 4. There is a clock tower thing and some other moments that I think are really spectacular.
Lost our sun gun.
We have no sun. We're in the dark.
Battery's dead.
Yep.
It's all right. We're in the dark.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hopefully you can make out.
Yeah.
Just check out the profile. You know which one's me.
Oh, nice.
I'm backlit, so just look for the giant nose. You know which one's Silverman. Yeah, I feel like even though it doesn't have as many of those, kind of really big set pieces, it's sort of stronger the whole way.
Yeah.
Like the quieter moments are better.
Yeah.
The in-between moments are better. I think the larger playgrounds that they give you, there's some sequences, where you have a Jeep and you're in Madagascar and like you have to get through sort of an enemy encampment and there's 10 different ways to do it and you can figure that out yourself and you're like, I'm kind of feeling like I'm sort of playing an open world Uncharted right now.
Yeah, and the replay on something like that too is
it's awesome.
It is, because you're gonna want to go through all of this stuff again, and I think partly the lack of set piece moments, it makes that allure. Makes you want to just re-experience every moment of it, as opposed to just playing the highlight reel.
And
all of it is good.
What they do better than anybody, and I think what they do in this game better than they did in Uncharted 2, just speaking back to Uncharted 2, is they make you feel like you're discovering the way through these puzzles or these worlds. Like you're the one who found that this is the place to go and this is the jump to make and this is the handhold to grab onto, even though it's linear. Like everyone's finding the same thing, but everyone owns that sense of discovery in a way that in a lot of linear games it doesn't sort of come across. You feel like you're just being led.
Totally, and they've been good at that, but they've obviously used color to highlight where you could have gone in previous games a little even more so than they do here. They're a little better at hiding it and disguising it into the topography and the geography. But they also give you more ways to get through things.
Right.
And then that also leads you to doing a lot of backtracking and re-exploring, going, where the hell is that thing that I didn't find? Where's that little artifact that I've been looking for? The treasures. But I don't know. I mean, this is an astounding accomplishment, I think, from these guys.
Yeah.
It's. I'm not reviewing it yet because I have, as we're recording this, but I am just absolutely blown away by the thing. What do you think about the rope swinging mechanic, which I think is, it's kind of the whip. It's kind of the Indiana Jones whip of this game.
Yeah.
And in multiplayer, too.
I think it's really cool. It felt like, you get it right early on at the beginning of the game, and it made me go, why didn't he have this in all the other games? Because the way that you get it, you're like, he should have had this grappling hook thing.
Yes.
It's really good, and I was impressed by just the rope mechanics and the swinging, and you would get a real sense of momentum, and it kind of adds to the swashbuckliness of everything, where you jump off a ledge and you hit the grappling thing and you go across and you're like dangling over the ocean and you jump off and latch barely onto it. It really feeds into this sense of danger and.
It's so elegant, right?
It's just sort of fun to do it.
It's second nature.
You see that little thing pop up that you can use your grappling hook, and I'm like, awesome, cool, I'm going to do it. I don't care where I'm going. I'm just going to do it.
I think this is out everywhere. I don't think this is a big shocker, but you can mute this part if you don't want any spoilers or whatever. But I want to talk about one specific scene in this game. It's not very far into it. You can mute right now.
Mute now.
They sit down to play Crash Bandicoot on a PlayStation 1. What did that feel like for you?
Okay, so they're still muted.
Yeah.
If you're not muted, I think we're not supposed to talk about this.
Okay.
But we can, because
Yeah.
this will come out when the game
Comes out tomorrow, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that might be my favorite scene in any
I've seen
Uncharted.
a picture of this on
Have we?
online.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right. Yeah, that's maybe my favorite scene in any Uncharted game. It's so meta. It's so meta. I mean,
it's a profound piece of entertainment right
Yeah,
there, because
it
they're
is.
playing
It is.
a game that many of the people that worked on this game also worked on. Because the turnover, apart from the whatever transpired in the creation of this game, apart from that, the turnover at Naughty Dog is incredibly low. I've been visiting that studio for 20 years, And I've talked to the same people for 20 years. And some of them are Facebook friends that I've kept in contact with for a long time. And for this modern character, this almost photoreal character, to sit down and play this crude, polygonal, first attempt at a 3D platformer type game, it's profound.
Also, he has some great lines. I mean,
Yeah.
he says at one point something like, well, why can't he climb?
Yeah.
I mean, why is he jumping? Why can't he climb?
Yeah.
I climb a lot. I find climbing to be pretty useful.
Yeah.
And you're just like, yeah, like, why couldn't he climb?
Yeah.
Naughty dog.
Yeah.
Like, it's great. It's
Yeah.
great. I mean, there's so many great moments in this game. That's one of them. There are a couple other great little Easter eggs in there. There's a pirate painting
Yeah.
in one of the areas of the game where they have a bunch of pirate paintings. That is a famous video game pirate
Yeah.
in there as well. So I think I can't wait to go back and play it again and start looking for more of those, because I think there's a lot of Easter eggs and love letters in this game.
It's you know what? I mean, E3 is next month, and it's they did this with Arkham. I think there was a year where did Arkham City come out just before E3?
Yeah, it did.
Where
Yeah.
it was like, okay, well, I just beat Arkham City. Now I'm going to E3. It's like beat
Yeah.
that E3.
Well,
I
and
kind
this
of,
year-
I kind of feel like, what the hell are they going to do?
Well, this year it's going to be the thing where we go to E3 and we come home and No Man's Sky
Right,
is
okay,
waiting for
okay.
us when we get back. So
Right.
that's the release.
And The Last
issue this
Guardian,
year.
I guess, is coming. And
At some point,
Zelda,
yeah. But I mean,
Zelda's next
No Man's
year.
Sky is
God
like
damn.
literally, I think it's coming out June
Right.
20th or something. Like
Right.
something we're at E3, we come home and the game
Right.
comes out. So
I hope we are shocked, and we will know soon. But I hope we are shocked by some stuff that we've not heard of that is just going to be phenomenal. I find it hard to believe that we're going to play a better game than Uncharted 4 this year, though.
it's right up there. It's
Yeah.
one of the best video games I've played in years. It's certainly one of the best video games since The Last of Us. I mean,
Yeah.
again, talking Naughty Dog, these
Amazing.
guys have some serious mojo. And yeah, I mean, you'll do your review, you'll score it. The only score I'll give anybody is go buy it.
Yeah.
It gets a go buy it
Yeah.
on the PS4.
It was delayed because they needed to press more copies. I don't think they're gonna have trouble selling this one.
No, I don't think so.
It's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Great to have you. Love you.
Yeah.
And Ben Silverman will be back in the basement soon. Thank you all for watching Stitcher, and we'll be back soon with more Vic's Basement. Bye.
Esports.
Hey, thanks for checking out that video on our EPN channel. It's just one small part of the things that we make around here. So if you liked it, don't forget to check out some of our other vids and hit that subscribe button.